You weren't hit. You weren't yelled at. On paper, your childhood looks fine. But something was missing, and you've spent your entire adult life trying to figure out what. If your parents were physically there but emotionally absent, this video is going to explain everything you've been confused about. And I need you to stay until the end because the last part might change the way you see your entire life. Most people think trauma needs to be loud, a screaming parent, a violent household, something you can point to and say, that's what hurt me. But there's a type of trauma that's completely silent. It's not what happened to you, it's what didn't happen. Psychologists call it childhood emotional neglect, and it's one of the most damaging experiences a human being can go through, because the person going through it has no idea it's happening. Think about it like this. If someone punches you, you know you were hurt. You have a bruise. You have proof. But if someone just never held you when you cried, never asked how your day was, never made you feel like your feelings mattered, there's no bruise. There's no evidence. Just a hollow feeling you can't explain. And that's what makes emotional neglect so brutal. You grow up feeling like something is fundamentally wrong with you, but you can't point to a single event that caused it. Because it wasn't an event, it was an absence, a daily, invisible absence that quietly rewired your brain. Here's what neuroscience says actually happens. When a child's emotional needs are consistently ignored, their brain adapts, not in a good way, in a survival way. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for understanding your own emotions, doesn't develop the same way. You literally grow up with a weaker ability to identify what you're feeling. You know something hurts, but you can't name it. You know you're not okay, but you don't know why. At the same time, your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, becomes hyperactive. It starts treating normal emotional situations as threats. Someone gets close to you? Threat. Someone asks how you really feel? Threat. Someone offers love without conditions? Your brain doesn't trust it. This is why emotionally neglected adults often say things like, "I don't know what I feel," or "I'm fine," when they're clearly not fine. It's not that they're hiding their emotions, they genuinely can't access them. Their brain never learned how. And here's the part that keeps me up at night. A 2025 study published in Scientific Reports found that emotional neglect actually changes the physical structure of your brain. The gray matter in areas responsible for self-control and emotional processing looks different in people who experienced childhood neglect. This isn't just psychology, it's biology. Your brain was physically shaped by what you didn't receive. So what does this look like when you're an adult? It looks like a person who functions perfectly on the outside but feels empty on the inside. You're the reliable one at work, the one who never complains, the one everyone leans on, but nobody asks if you're okay because you trained them not to. You made yourself so low maintenance that people forgot you have needs at all. You struggle to ask for help, not because you're proud, because somewhere deep inside, your brain decided that needing things from people is dangerous, that asking makes you a burden, that the safest option is to need nothing from anyone, ever. You might feel like you're watching your own life from behind glass, like you're performing the role of a person instead of actually being one. Relationships feel like scripts you're following. Happiness feels like something other people experience naturally, but you have to manufacture. And the cruelest part? You probably don't blame your parents, because nothing bad happened. They fed you, they kept a roof over your head, they did their best. And that's true, but doing your best and giving a child what they emotionally need are two very different things. So what do you do with this information? First, you stop blaming yourself for feeling empty. That emptiness isn't a character flaw, it's a wound, and wounds can heal. The most important step is learning to identify your emotions. Sounds basic, right? But for someone who grew up in emotional neglect, naming a feeling is like learning a language you were never taught. Start small. When something bothers you, pause and ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Anger? Sadness? Fear? Just naming it begins to rebuild the neural pathways your childhood didn't develop. Second, practice asking for what you need, even if it makes you uncomfortable, especially if it makes you uncomfortable. Every time you express a need and someone responds with care, your brain records it. It's slowly rewriting the story that says your needs don't matter. You didn't choose this. A child can't choose what they receive, but you can choose to give yourself now what nobody gave you then. If this video put words to something you've been carrying your entire life, hit subscribe, because this channel exists for the people who were never loud enough to be noticed. And if you want to understand more about how your childhood shaped your brain, watch this video right here. It goes even deeper.